Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you right here on ESPN Radio. 250 plus markets across the United States of America. And of course, ESPN Radio on Sirius XM. Channel 80. Number to call up as always is 888-729-3776. That's 888-SAY-ESPN. Tedy Bruschi, NFL analyst extraordinaire, three-time Super Bowl champion with the New England Patriots. He will be on the show a little bit later on today. Talked about these NFC conference championship matchups. And of course, he'll be doing that about 30 minutes past hour number one. And then of course, our resident handicapper extraordinaire out of Vegas, RJ Bell, he'll be on the show with us to handicap the games Vegas style. Looking forward to talking to him as well. It's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, best phones, best networks, no contracts. Lots of stuff to get into today. And of course, I will get into LeBron James and Charles Barkley, calling him a drama queen. I'll respond to that a little bit later on in the show. Plus, at a particular question that I'm interested in presenting to all of you, because I'm interested in hearing your take about that. But like I said, first things first. I mean, look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm in the minority. I am in the minority because I am not caught up in this Tom Brady injury the way everybody else is. I really don't understand that. I'm actually laughing at all of y'all. So let me get this straight. A five-time champion who's been to about 9 AFC championship games, who's 60 minutes away from a Super Bowl appearance, yet another, who is widely recognized, universally recognized, actually, as one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, widely recognized as the greatest quarterback ever. I am supposed to believe that this guy named Tom Brady is hurt and he's not practicing. And you know what? He might not be ready for Sunday. I mean, y'all make me laugh. I got to admit it. Y'all actually make me laugh. Tom Brady, this is all a hoax to me. I don't believe any of it. Not a second of it. And my producer, hey, Steven, hey, I hear what you're saying. I totally understand. But however, in light of the news that has come out over the last 24 hours, I mean, do you really think you haven't moved from your position at all? That's a poor imitation of my producer, Jonathan Winthrop, but that's beside the point. The real point is this. No, I have not moved off my position. I think it's all a smokescreen. I think if there was anything serious, we wouldn't even know that he was injured. I think if it was anything serious, we would know that we've got a boatload of stuff to be worried about. That's what I believe. I think there's absolutely nothing to worry about. Tom Brady will be fine. He will be there, ready to go, ready to handle his business. That is what I believe. Chris Hogan will be ready. Brandon Cooks will be ready. Rob Gronkowski will be ready. Danny Amendola will be ready. Deion Lewis will be ready. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I expect. If Tom Brady's going to have trouble, it's going to be because Jacksonville, which has 55 sacks this season, which was terrorizing one quarterback after another all season long, they don't need to send the house in order to get at Tom Brady. They can rush 4 and drop 7 back into the secondary. They've got those kind of skills, that kind of athleticism, which says to me that Deion Lewis is going to need to run the ball relatively effectively. That's what he's going to need to do. Because if he does that, then you got to stack the line of scrimmage a little bit better. And if you do that, that opens up play action, which is going to give Tom Brady more time and more room to operate, which is when he'll be deadly. That is what I foresee. That is what needs to transpire. That is what needs to happen. And if it doesn't go down like that, because they can't run the football effectively, then Tom Brady's going to have a long day because you're going to need to drop back to pass more. You're not going to be able to lean on play action or any other kind of trickery. And as a result, they're going to be able to get at you because those are some rough riders on Jacksonville's defense. I am not trying to disrespect Jacksonville's defense by any stretch of the imagination. I really am not. I know they're big time. They're the number 2 ranked defense in the league. Jalen Ramsey is no joke. Calais Campbell is no joke. Malik Jackson is no joke. Telvin Smith returned a touchdown. off of a fumble, a sack fumble by Big Ben Roethlisberger. Miles Jack had an interception against Roethlisberger last week. Barry Church is a former Cowboy, and I'm still sitting here praising him. That's how big time the Jacksonville Jaguars defense is. Barry Church, a former Cowboy, is on this roster, and I'm not accusing him of contamination. That's how big time Jacksonville's defense is. So I got news for you. Make no mistake about it. Big things are on the way. Jacksonville's defense is going to be here for a little while. But am I supposed to believe that Blake Bortles is going to beat Tom Brady? I don't believe it. Because I don't believe the Patriots are going to let Leonard Fournette beat him. I know he's going to penetrate the line of scrimmage. It's going to come down to McCourty and Chang and those boys and whether or not they can tackle. Chung, rather. I understand. I get it. But I believe they'll pull it off, and I believe the New England Patriots are going to do everything necessary and everything within their power to ensure that Blake Bortles is going to have to be the one who beats them if they're going to miss out on getting to the Super Bowl. In Foxborough, no less. I believe that's what's going to happen. And I don't believe it will. And by the way, A.J. Bouye, listen, he's going to have a better week this week because he ain't going against Antonio Brown. Because we saw what Antonio Brown did to him last week. Brandon Cooks ain't no Antonio Brown. 888-729-3776. That's 888-SAY-ESPN. That's one game. The other game is at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, where the Philadelphia Eagles are hosting the Minnesota Vikings for the chance to go to the Super Bowl. Eagles are fourth in points allowed, fourth in yards allowed, number one against the rush, relatively suspect against the pass. But their defense is elite in and of itself, just like Minnesota's is, even though Minnesota was number one. So this is going to be some ugly defensive battle. That's what I'm anticipating. Some ugly defensive battle. That's what I'm anticipating. But I got to tell you something. I really, really got to say this. I think Minnesota is so lucky. It's so lucky. I don't see them winning this game. I think Nick Foles and the Philadelphia Eagles going to find a way to pull this out. I think it'll be a nail biter. I can see the Eagles winning this game like 21-20. I think it's going to be that close, but I think the Philadelphia Eagles will prevail because of their defense, because of the home crowd, and because I think their defense will make a play against Minnesota's offense and Case Keenum, which everybody's trying to act like is the second coming of Joe Montana, and I think that they'll find a way, that meaning the Eagles, to get it done. That is what I believe. I ain't going to lie to you, though. I ain't that damn confident about it. 888-729-3776. That's 888-SAY-ESPN. We'll get into both AFC and NFC championship games. We'll get into both topics, both games. We also need to recognize this before we say anything else. If ever there was a moment when Tom Brady is holding the NFL in the palm of his hands, it is right now. Ladies and gentlemen, last week, Big Ben Roethlisberger, Matt Ryan, and Drew Brees all went down. Their replacements are Blake Bortles, Nick Foles, and Case Keenum. If you think for 1 second, after the year that the NFL had, because of Colin Kaepernick's protest and ultimately the president getting involved by turning it into an issue about our American flag, all to irritate and annoy NFL owners who would not let him into their little boys club or their big boys club. As an NFL owner, that's right, I said it. That's what your president did. He had a vendetta against other owners, which they confirmed and acknowledged that they believed. Because that issue was successfully hijacked and because fan interest and ratings interest all dissipated. You have any idea how bad this would be for the National Football League if we had a Super Bowl that was without Drew Brees, Matt Ryan, Ben Roethlisberger, and Tom Brady? And instead we had Blake Bortles versus Nick Foles or Case Keenum? You talk about ratings nosediving? Oh, my Lord. I don't recall at any time when the NFL ever needed a player more than they need Tom Brady this weekend. And to annoy my buddy Carlton who calls in, it wouldn't surprise me at all if everything was done to facilitate Brady advancing to the Super Bowl within legal means, of course. I'm just saying. 888-SAY-ESPN. That is the number to call in to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here on ESPN Radio.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here on ESPN Radio. By the way, that diatribe I went on a little bit earlier was Straight Talk Wireless, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. The number to call in to the Stephen A. Smith Show, as always, is 888-729-3776. That's 888-SAY-ESPN. Let's get to some of these calls because I know a lot of people want to talk about a few things, so let's do that. Let's go to Claudia in Cali. You're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Hello, Claudia. How are you?
Hi, Stephen A. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Well, thank you so much. How are you doing?
Good, and yourself?
I'm doing great. Go ahead. Talk to me.
I just want you to not underestimate my Pac-12 Bruins, because what Bruin took out Aaron Rodgers this season? Anthony Barr.
Oh,
what Bruin's going to take out Ben from the playoffs was Miles Jack, the Jaguars. And he's going to take out him, and Calais Campbell will
listen,
take out.
Anthony Barr and Miles Jack are no joke. I like them both, but go ahead. What point did you really call up here to make?
Because the Patriots are not going to the Super Bowl. It's going to be the Eagles and the Jaguars.
The Eagles and the Jaguars. So you're telling me it's going to be Blake Bortles against Nick Foles?
Yep, that's what it's going to be, and the Eagles are going to win.
Claudia,
and if they do, Stephen, this year I turn 50, you will take me out to dinner for my 50th birthday.
If what? If the Eagles and the Jaguars win?
The Eagles win, and the Eagles and Jaguars make it to the Super Bowl.
I have to think about it. Claudia. I can't believe that I'm saying this over national radio, but I'll have to check in with someone before I'm allowed to grant you that wish. But I do appreciate the call and the offer. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day.
Welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You take care of yourself. Let me move on from that subject. It's a little bit hot up in here. Let's go to Ryan in Atlanta. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Ryan?
Stephen A., man, thanks for taking my call.
No problem. What's up?
Hey, man, I got to say, I don't know what kind of trickery the NFL could pull, but I agree with you, bro. If Nick Foles and Case Keenum are in the Super Bowl, it's going to be ugly.
No. It can't be both. It'll be one or the other against Blake Bortles. That's the only scenario that can happen. That Tom Brady ain't there. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. No, but yeah, exactly. Or Blake Bortles. Either one of. If you're right, you got to have two. That's going to be ugly, man, if Tom Brady doesn't get in there. So I don't know what the NFL going to do. I think all this scandal with his hand has something to do with it. But I don't know, man. It's going to be ugly, bro. In the NFL, with all the problems they've had this year, it's just going downhill, looks like.
I have never seen the NFL in a more vulnerable position than they are right now. I mean, after Deflategate threatened to mar last year before Brady came back from his 4-game suspension, ran roughshod through the league, got to the Super Bowl, and won it, overcoming a 28-3 deficit against the Atlanta Falcons. The guy comes back this year, is playing and having an MVP caliber season, and now he's holding the NFL in the palm of his hands. Because I'm telling you right now, if Tom Brady's not in the Super Bowl, since Big Ben and Drew Brees and Matt Ryan all got knocked out, especially Brees and Big Ben, if Tom Brady ain't in the Super Bowl in 2 weeks and in 16 days, I got to tell y'all, NFL is going to be in a bad spot. I'm telling you right now, the ratings ain't going to be the same. I don't care what anybody says. I just don't care. I appreciate the call, Ryan. Thank you so much. Carlton in Tampa, you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, man.
I have a dream, Stephen A., and it's a Super Bowl without Tom Brady in it.
Oh, my goodness.
But it's probably going to turn into my nightmare when he gets in there. But I'm feeling a little better. I did my research on Tony Steratore, the back judge, who I predicted is going to throw at least 3 flags on Jacksonville Jaguars defense. Of course, no flags were thrown on them for either defensive holding or pass interference last week against the Steelers, even though they mug them. But I gotta say, I'm feeling good. He did the Carolina game earlier this year against the Patriots, where Carolina beat the Patriots. There was only 1 flag thrown in that entire game against Carolina. He threw it, a defensive pass interference on Gronkowski, but they'd actually thrown an offensive pass interference call on Gronkowski the play before, and that was the only penalty on Carolina in that game. Steratore also did the Denver Broncos Patriots AFC Championship game 2 years ago, and I remember Gronk complaining about how he'd been mugged and no flags were coming out. So I'm feeling a little bit better here, Stephen A.
Well, listen, you're feeling a little bit better because you're rooting against the Patriots, and I hear you. But the flip side to it is that this is the AFC Championship game. And like I told you, listen, the NFL can't afford to not have Brady in the Super Bowl. Not this one, Carlton. Not this Super Bowl. You can't have Blake Bortles. You can't have Blake Bortles against Nick Foles or Case Keenum and tell everybody to look forward to a Super Bowl. You just can't do it.
If they don't throw flags, Jacksonville's got a chance. And what it is it's the second best defense in terms of takeaways. Jacksonville had 33 takeaways this year against the second best in terms of giving them up. The Patriots only had 12 giveaways this year, second best in the NFL. So we'll see who wins there. But I also think it's going to be who can run the ball. Jacksonville, as good as their defense is, they're ranked 26th against the rush by Bill Belichick's favorite metric, which is yards per rush attempt against that defense.
Well, you heard me bring up Deion Lewis and how he'll need to run the ball effectively in order to neutralize Jacksonville's defense. It can't be a situation where Tom Brady's just dropping back to pass because New England has no running game whatsoever. They'll need a running game in this game so Jacksonville can't drop 7 in the coverage. That was what I proclaimed in the last segment of the show.
You're right. Jacksonville has the second best pass defense by Bill Belichick's favorite metric. So the Patriots are going to try to run the ball against Jacksonville and also get the backs involved on the swing passes. White and Lewis. They're going to try to throw to those backs short passes that are effectively runs. And so we'll see whether or not Jacksonville can run on the Patriots. They should be able to, because the Patriots' rush defense is wretched. 31st in the NFL by yards per rush.
And Leonard Fournette, in case y'all don't know, is a stud.
And that's what the Patriots are going to try to do, stop that run, because they don't have any confidence that Blake Bortles can pass their way into the Super Bowl. So it's going to be rushing attack versus rushing attack and the turnover battle.
I will say this to you. I think Tom Brady's going to throw the ball at least 40, 45 times.
I doubt it, unless they're all of the backs.
I think he's going to throw the ball 40 to 45 times, trying to dip and dunk. But that speed that Jacksonville has on its defensive side of the ball, I think you're going to see a lot of misdirection. This is where Tom Coughlin is going to come. He's going to have to come from upstairs and help out his coach in this particular situation, Maroney. That's what I think.
I'll tell you, if Steratore throws more than 1 flag, though, on the Jacksonville secondary, I'm going to be apoplectic on Monday when I call you.
Well, you sound apoplectic now.
Because my dream is Blake Bortles versus Nick Foles. That's my dream, Stephen A. Please make it happen.
But you're lying, Carlton, because you know good and damn well if that happens, you'll barely watch the Super Bowl.
I will enjoy it for once.
Oh, my Lord.
Last year's Super Bowl was so traumatic for me, Stephen A. I'm barely over it now. That was traumatic.
That's right.
Before that, the Seahawks Super Bowl was traumatic for me, Stephen A.
That's right. You're gonna suffer. You're gonna miss the Patriots when they're gone. I'm telling you, if they don't make this Super Bowl, you're gonna regret your words. You're gonna be depressed. You mark it down.
I can sigh a relief. The sun will be out in Tampa, and I'll be feeling good. You're delusional, Stephen A. You're delusional.
You're delusional, Carlton, on this one. You're delusional. You're not appreciating the greatness of the Patriots, but you will, my friend. You will. Enjoy the weekend. We'll talk Monday. 888-729-3776. That's 888-SAY-ESPN. More of your calls on the AFC and NFC Championship game in a minute. Plus, I'm getting into Charles Barkley getting on LeBron James. I'll tell you who's right, who's wrong, who has a point. in a minute. You're listening live to Stephen A., ESPN Radio. By the way, Tedy Bruschi is up next. Bye.
Guess what?
You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
Back to the Stephen A. Smith Show. This man's only got a few minutes, so I'm going to get right to it. 3-time Super Bowl champion with the New England Patriots. Now NFL analyst extraordinaire for ESPN, the one and only Tedy Bruschi is on the line with yours truly right now. What's going on, Tedy? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, Stephen A. I'm doing well.
How worried are you about the hand injury to Tom Brady? I mean, my Lord, everybody's in panic mode except me. What about you, Tedy?
Well, I don't want to say that Brian Hoyer better get ready because I don't think it's that serious. But it can affect gameplay. I mean, what happens if the quarterback-center exchange? He's trying to take care of the thumb, and he fumbles a quarterback-center exchange. Is that a turnover? What happens if he's less accurate on his passes because he can't grip the ball as well? And, it's a pass defense, and it's a interception on a third down, one less third down conversion. Various things can happen. A quarterback throwing a football to me is like a golf swing, and any little thing can affect it, and accuracy is big for Tom Brady and the Patriots. We'll have to wait and see Sunday.
Is that your biggest concerns for the Patriots in this particular game, or is there something else on your mind that you believe your former team needs to be concerned about?
I played in those games. I mean, against the New York Giants and how they had a formidable front four rushing Brady and getting to him. And when they beat us in 2007 in the Super Bowl, Tom Coughlin was the coach then. Tom Coughlin is the GM there now. He's got guys like Ngakoue, Fowler. Inside, he's got Malik Jackson, Calais Campbell, those type of guys. Different names, same formula. Coughlin knows it. So this is no walk in the park. This is a very tough football team in Jacksonville, but they just have a similar formula to what the New York Giants had. So no, I'm not 100% confident in this game for them.
We're talking to Tedy Bruschi right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. I assume you have the Patriots winning this game. I assume that because I don't believe a team, even with a stout running game led by Leonard Fournette, is going to be enough to beat New England with Blake Bortles, because I don't believe that the New England Patriots defense is going to make the same mistakes Pittsburgh's defense made.
I agree. I'd say once Blake Bortles gets out of the pocket and scrambles for 8 to 10 yards and gets a first down on third down. Besides that, they are being told every single second of every single day about keeping him in the pocket in critical situations, especially making him throw the football, and that's what they'll prevent from happening is that scramble from Blake Bortles. The way he did it against Pittsburgh, those easy check down passes, those type of things will be taken away. I do want to see how safeties, Patrick Chung, Devin McCourty, will they be able to tackle Fournette when he breaks through, because it's going to happen. Good offensive line, great running back, one-on-one tackle is important.
Let's transition to the NFC conference, Tedy Bruschi, because we've got the Minnesota Vikings lucking their way to the NFC Championship game as far as I'm concerned. They're getting set to go up against the Philadelphia Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. Break this down for me, this matchup, who you got and why.
Well, I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles. I like them at home. I mean, I'm going because of their defense and how strong I think it is. People forget about it. The front four. Should you call it the front five, front six, or front seven? Because they just rotate them in over and over again, stopping the run, getting pressure on the passer. I mean, I just like that formula. Of Nick Foles also. I mean, I love the way Peterson started the game last week. Even though it was a duck, he was like, you know what, Nick, we're going to show everybody we got your back. Throw it deep. And he threw it deep, and it looked awful, but eventually he settled down. Peterson, I think, is a great play caller. He'll have those dink and dunk passes for Nick Foles. Jake Elliott, remember that name, the kicker, the rookie kicker. I think it's going to be 2 to 3 field goals by him. That's the difference, and late in the game to win it.
Here's the thing. When I look at Minnesota, when we talk about Case Keenum, have we slept on this guy? Have we underestimated this guy? Or is this just an anomaly? He's just having a good year, and we need to leave it at that. What are your thoughts about Case Keenum?
I think he's a good player on a great team. He's a solid quarterback. I mean, he is a part of their success. Absolutely. Is he the reason? Absolutely not. So many other reasons you can point to with that Minnesota Viking team. Coaching, running the football, plays of the wide receivers, the defense, all of that. Will Case Keenum throw it into a team meeting? Absolutely. Once in a while he does that, and I think he'll make one of those mistakes during this game.
Who do you think have the better offensive personnel? Vikings or the Eagles? The better
Vikings
offensive personnel.
We'll start at the quarterback. I mean, do you give Case Keenum a little bit of an edge at quarterback just because, he's played a little bit longer than Foles, and Foles still has some settling down to do? Maybe both offensive lines. I know there's some good individual players along the Philadelphia Eagle offensive line. Johnson, Kelsey are good players. Running backs, Eagles have good players. Latavius Murray's a solid player. Also, Jerick McKinnon's made his plays. It's almost a wash in terms of offensive playmakers because I know they got Diggs and Thielen. The Vikings may have the edge in terms of receivers, but Foles and Ertz also have been something you need to stop.
My last question to you, Tedy Bruschi, with Tom Brady playing this Sunday, but the other three quarterbacks being Blake Bortles, Case Keenum, and Nick Foles instead of Drew Brees, Matt Ryan, and Big Ben Roethlisberger, how much do you believe Roger Goodell and the NFL is praying that Brady and the New England Patriots win this Sunday so they can end up in the Super Bowl?
I'll say this. The NFL, until you know how they think. They think in ratings. They're thinking, people in the Super Bowl village and all of that stuff. The New England Patriots maybe having a Minnesota Viking home game situation, something like that. But absolutely, I think they would be hoping for a Tom Brady Patriot-led team in the Super Bowl.
I'll be watching you on NFL Live this afternoon, buddy. Thanks so much, as always, man. Appreciate your time.
All right, Stephen A. I'm off. Thanks, man.
Take it easy, buddy. The one and only Tedy Bruschi, 3-time Super Bowl champion with the New England Patriots, right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio. By the way, ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance with more than 30 unique coverage options available. Progressive, no small business. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com. The number to call up is 888-729-3776. That's 888-SAY-ESPN. Lots of stuff to get into because, listen, you heard what he's saying. He ain't going against the Patriots. Because deep in Tedy Bruschi's heart of hearts, he knows good and damn well Tom Brady's all right. All this noise about Tom Brady, oh my Lord, is his pinky hurting or something? Oh, he's hurt. He's not all right. He's not okay. Oh, stop it. Tom Brady's going to be just fine. Tom Brady is 60 minutes away from a Super Bowl, and I'm sorry, a pinky or a finger is going to stop him? I said it earlier. I'm going to say it again. I don't give a damn if he was in a sling, walking around handing out pizzas to everybody until Sunday afternoon. Come Sunday afternoon, he'll be ready because he's Tom Brady. And this is not his first rodeo. Jacksonville can't say the same. Blake Bortles can't say the same. Blake Bortles never won a playoff game until last week. Now, the Jacksonville defense is no joke, and I get all of that, and I respect it. But if you think for 1 second I'm concerned about an injury derailing Tom Brady on his finger, you must be crazy. Or his hand. Oh, my Lord, he handed off the ball awkwardly. He's not okay. Oh, please. Please. He'll be just fine. He'll be just fine. Let's see what Jacksonville's offense does against New England's defense. They won't make the same mistakes the Steelers' defense made. Let's see what happens then. That's what I'm talking about. That's what's on my mind. 888-729-3776. It's 888-SAY-ESPN. Back with more of the Stephen A. Smith Show. Talking AFC, NFC championship game in a minute. It's the Stephen A. Smith Show. ESPN Radio.
Guess what?
You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it.
Thanks again to the great Tedy Bruschi coming on the show for us, breaking down what's going to transpire over the AFC and NFC championship games. Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, is brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics, taking synthetic motor oil to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Reminding you, hour number 2, we'll get into more of the Super Bowl talk. R.J. Bell, our resident handicap out of Vegas, he'll be on the show with us. Looking forward to getting into that. And I'll get to your phone calls as well. But before I do that, I needed to touch on Charles Barkley. On the NBA show, TNT, award-winning NBA show, TNT, Charles Barkley, my brothers Kenny Smith, Shaquille O'Neal as well, with the great Ernie Johnson. They spoke yesterday, and Charles Barkley was, there were folks that were wondering as to why LeBron James wasn't the leading vote getter for the All-Star game. And he got beat out by the Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks. And Charles Barkley went on to say, because he's a drama queen, calling LeBron a drama queen. Now, obviously, there are some people who believe that is sacrilegious. How dare you say that about LeBron James? He's the best player in the world. Look at the level of scrutiny he's been subjected to. Look at the age that we're living in, social media and beyond. Michael Jordan and those boys didn't have to deal with Twitter and Facebook and all of this invasive stuff that has permeated our society. Fair enough. And I think, personally speaking, Barkley went too far with those words, per se, because they sounded entirely too incendiary and personal, which harkens you back to LeBron James getting personal with him when LeBron James went too far because he didn't like the criticism from Charles Barkley. So he brought up Vegas and he brought up gambling debts and he brought up all of this other stuff, which was completely unnecessary and was wrong for LeBron to do. Because all LeBron had to do was say, I got 3 rings. Charles, you don't. That's all he had to say. But he got tired of it. He was fed up with the criticism from Charles Barkley. So he went a little extra and got a little sensitive and highly offensive. I'm not going to go as far as to say that LeBron James is a drama queen. I'm not going to insult the greatest player in the world like that. Here's what I will say. I've heard players call him that. And so has Charles Barkley. You got a lot of people out there that are incredibly jealous of LeBron, unappreciative of the position that he's put them in terms of getting the money that they get in today's generation of NBA players. The brilliance with which he has marketed himself and turned himself into an astute businessman, and a mover and shaker, even in Hollywood. That's what he's trying to make happen. He's constantly forward thinking. He's looking ahead, and he's a shining example of what players should aspire to be, in terms of parlaying their athletic prowess into a world beyond athletics. LeBron James is the poster child for that, along with Michael Jordan. Fair enough. But what Charles Barkley said isn't completely wrong either, because Charles Barkley has heard that before. I have heard that before. You've got a lot of people that got a problem with LeBron James because they think that what Kevin Durant did, that's why they were so happy with Kevin Durant, because they said he learned it from LeBron, making that move to Golden State. LeBron didn't stay in one place and go through the trials and tribulations and ultimately elevate himself to championship stature. He skipped town and joined forces with D. Wade and Chris Bosh. You got a lot of people that don't believe that LeBron deserves the accolades that he gets. You got a lot of people in the NBA who don't believe that he's treated in a fashion that they're treated in. A lot of them think he gets preferential treatment. I'm here to tell you, LeBron James will tell you, you must be on crack with the scrutiny that he is subjected to on a daily basis. But there are a lot of dudes in the NBA that thinks he's disingenuous. They think he's a bit phony. They think that, I believe that he constantly tries to control the narrative. I don't think he's phony and all that other stuff that people try to say about him, but he does try to control the narrative at all times. At all times. And considering the combination of those things that I just told you others felt about him, that's where the drama queen comment would come from. My thing is, there's one thing for me personally that disgusts me about LeBron. And it's one thing above all else. I'm not going to call him a drama queen again because I don't feel that way. But I can't stand how he'll sit there and talk about basketball when he's doing great. But when he's struggling and you talk to him about those struggles, he'll bring up kids and being a role model and all. Yeah, we respect that. And we know you're those things. But we're talking about this bad game that you had the last week, assuming that something like that happened. And he tries to change the narrative in that regard. That's all that annoys me about him. I don't think he deserves the rest of the stuff. But I must admit, a lot of folks do. Hour number 2 up next with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio.